silk flowers can look really real from a distance, but when you skip the social distancing with them, sometimes you can see the edges of the flower petals are fraying. That makes your flowers look tired and sad. In order to give my clients lovely silk blooms that could fool the bees and combat HD videography, I have developed a way to seal the edges of my silk flower petals. It has taken me a lot of trial and error to figure it out, and now I'm sharing this hack with you so you could make your silk flower more realistic and last longer. Hello, my name is Janet. Welcome to my channel. This is where I talk about silk flowers and weddings. I'm excited to help you work with faux flowers and create memorable moments. Most of the silk flowers we can buy from craft stores and home decor places with petals that are made of polyester or a nylon blend. The plasticky content allow me to use heat to seal the edges of the petals. To do that, I use a solder iron. It came with changeable tips, and I always use the finest available one. On the handle, it has a temperature dial, which I've always set to 200 degrees Celsius, the lowest temperature available. This is the tip cleaner, which has a ball of copper wool in it to scrape off any residue on the tip. And I always have the heat-proof sponge that came with the solder iron for cleaning as well. Alternatively, you can use a soaking wet cloth. I use my hot glue gun when I need to glue some petals in place after sealing the edges. And I have this pair of mini embroidery scissors for trimming the edges. For protection, I've laid a silicone heat-resistant placemat on my work desk. Silicone finger gloves would also be handy to protect your fingertips. As my work process involves melting plastic, I always wear a mask and make sure my work area is ventilated. Before we start, we need to talk about how to get to the petals safely. I do not want the side of the solder iron to touch any other petals because anything it touches would get burnt instantly. It could be tricky to maneuver the tip of the solder iron when the flower is still on the stem. This is why I always take the flowers apart when I can. I always start by taking the flower off the stem by pinching at the stalk. For flowers that aren't well glued together, I always take them apart. Flowers that I always take apart are ranunculus and hydrangea. Did you know that your flowers come in so many parts? Without further ado, let me show you how I use the solder iron. Now that I have taken this Lithianthus apart, I can finally get to the edges with ease. So I've set my solder iron to 200 degrees Celsius and preheated it for a couple of minutes. You know it's hot if you hear a sizzling sound when the solder iron touches a wet cloth or a wet sponge. Make sure your sponge or cloth is soaking wet or it will get burnt. I carefully move the tip of the solder iron close to the edge of the petal, keeping my hands as steady as possible and slowly go around the edges. I repeat the process over and over again. In order to keep the tip of the solder iron clean, I dip the tip into the cleaner every now and then. I do that to make sure there's no burnt residue of the petals stuck on the tip, which could turn the edges of the petals black and look dirty. For flowers that are very well glued, like spray roses and rose buds, I would flip the petals out and start from the outside and make my way in. If you find a calyx that's made of fabric instead of plastic after you have taken the flower off the stem, then most likely the petals are well glued together. And this is how I work with flowers that can't be taken apart. There are exceptions like cabbage roses. They are always well glued together, but in order to get to the petals safely, I need to break them apart because there's simply too many layers. Before moving on to more tips that you need to know before sealing your flower petals, please give me a thumbs up if you found this video helpful for you. And I will be uploading videos regularly, sharing tips for working with silk flowers. Make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my videos. The petals come in different weights, which means they need to be treated in slightly different ways. Here I have 3 types of petals in different weights. You can tell they are different by the opacity and also by touching them. The thinner the fabric, the less heat it can take. When overheated, it crumbles up and gets burnt. To avoid that, we can control the amount of heat the petals get in 2 ways. Number 1, by adjusting the amount of time that the tip of the soldering iron touches the edge of the petals. Number 2, by adjusting the distance between the tip of the soldering iron and the petal. Please note I have never tried this on real touch flowers before, but I assume the silicone coated petals wouldn't fray as much as uncoated ones. Despite the seller of my soldering iron claim that its temperature could stay constant, I do find it becomes hotter. After being in use for like 20 minutes, I could feel the handle getting pretty hot as well, so I usually turn it off after using it for 10 to 15 minutes, so I don't burn my petals easily. That's how I stop my flower petals from fraying. Will you try heat seal your flower petals? Please comment below and let me know. And also, if you have questions about silk flowers or any video topics requests, let me know down below as well. If you have enjoyed this video, I believe you will also find the video here helpful as well. Thank you for watching this, and I will see you over there.